Get along among yourselves, each of you doing your part. Our counsel is that you warn the freeloaders to get a move on. Gently encourage the stragglers and reach out for the exhausted, pulling them to their feet. Be patient with each person, attending to individual needs. And be careful that when you get on each other's nerves, you don't snap at each other. Look for the best in each other and always do your best to bring it out. Be cheerful no matter what. Pray all the time. Thank God no matter what happens. This is the way God wants you, who belong to Jesus Christ, to live. Don't suppress the Spirit, and don't stifle those who have a word from the Master. On the other hand, don't be gullible. Check out everything and keep only what's good. Throw out anything tainted and evil. Now, if it works, we have the special music on the screen.
Hungry, I come to you for surrender. So we're going to look at this scripture a bit. So if you want to refer to your insert, if you do this, then you actually have your insert your bulletin. And today we're going to write and do things this way. So it's going to be a little bit interactive today. So if you're quiet, it's going to be really silly. Or it's going to be worse than it has at the start. So the theme today is surrender. Or I'm going to refer to a phrase that we used today in our Bible study class. Cave dwell. What does it mean to surrender?
Give up.
Okay.
Release.
Okay.
Give away.
Give away. How about quit? Okay. Now, if we look at our scripture, surrendering, this is the way, sometimes when we are asked to live a certain way, we think we have to surrender to God. Or surrender what we're doing, good or bad. Sometimes it's okay to surrender your bad habits. It's good to quit your bad habits or give them away. Surrender also means losing control. Or giving control. When we talk about prayer, sometimes it's that we have to surrender ourselves to God. We have to lose control or give control to God. And that's hard because how many of you like to be in control? I like to be in control. I hate chaos. The joke I have for Lynn is I'm giving up chaos, which is hard to do when you have 2 teenagers living in your house. Let's look at verses 13 to 15, and I chose the Message Bible for this reason, because it kind of breaks it down. Get along amongst yourselves, each of you doing your part. Okay, no slackers. Our counsel is that you warn the freeloaders to get a move on. Gently encourage the stragglers, and reach out for the exhausted, pulling them to their feet. Be patient with each person, attentive to individual needs, and be careful that when you get on each other's nerves, you don't snap at each other. Look for the best in each other, and always do your best to bring it out. Okay, let's dissect this here. Sometimes we have people in our lives that weigh heavy on us. What?
Can we cut this part out and tape it to the mirror on the car? For the travel that we're going to be going on.
Oh, okay. We need to reach out for those exhausted. How many of you are exhausted at times? You're just too tired. And sometimes we just need somebody to reach out to get us out of our cave. We talked about David living in a cave when times are rough, and how we can get involved in those caves. And it's hard to get out of those caves because where do we feel safe? In our cave. So it says, reach out for the exhausted. Reach out for those who can't get out of their caves. Be patient with each person. Be patient with you. I don't do good at this. Do well if I do good. I don't do well at this at times. I'm not always most patient. And it seems I'm not most patient with those closest to me. Those of you out there, I'm pretty patient with you all. But my family at times, I snap. And there it says, when you get on each other's nerves, don't snap at each other. It's easy to snap, isn't it? Because we're tired, we're exhausted, We don't want to surrender or give up. We don't want to release ourselves to God or to another person. That's hard to do. Be cheerful no matter what. Let's look at these three. Rejoice always, or be cheerful all the time. How many of you can be cheerful all the time? And how many of you get irritated at people who are cheerful all the time? When I go on my events, I'm not a good...
Perky people?
Those perky people. I am not a great morning person. And when we go on these events, sometimes there's always this perpetual perky person. Try to say that fast 3 times. And I love her to death, but sometimes I just want to wring her neck. Because she just, hi! I'm like, I just woke up. I don't smile till 10 o'clock. I love her. But it's hard to be happy all the time, to rejoice all the time. Because sometimes life, it sucks. And then we go back to our cave dwelling. Pray without ceasing. Don't stop praying. How many of you pray without ceasing? Think about that. How often are you praying? Do you pray all the time? That's hard. Then the third one is, give thanks in all circumstances. Joyce, when you cut your finger, were you giving thanks?
No. I was wanting it to quit bleeding.
But it's hard to give thanks in all circumstances. But through all circumstances, bad circumstances, sorry about that, guys. Bad circumstances equals closer to God. If you think about it, through every bad circumstance, we can become closer to God. And we take that bad circumstance and we learn from it. In the video we talked about, that we saw today, the man said this, that there was a study done, and people were chosen to do quality or quantity in this art class. So the quantity, were told that they needed to make 50 pots to get an A, 40 a B, etc. The quality class only had to make 1 pot the whole semester. Who do you think made the better pots? The quantity, because every time they made a mistake, they can improve upon it. Sometimes we're not measured by how well we do, but how much we do in life. We take each of our experiences and we make it better so that we can do this. Be cheerful no matter what. Pray all the time. Thank God no matter what happens. It's hard to thank God when things are rough. But we need to thank God that we're present and we'll learn from this. This is a prayer. This is C.S. Lewis. If you have never read C.S. Lewis, many of you know that he wrote the Narnia Tales, but he also wrote some beautiful books, letters. He's an Irish writer, so that's good for St. Patty's Day. But he's a beautiful writer. He did the Screw Tape Letters. There's several others that he did. But in this, he says, prayer does not change God, prayer changes us. Prayer changes us. So I want to review this. I might review it. I guess. Okay. Some of you are wondering why the prayer beads. The Catholic Church uses the prayer beads. They use the rosary. The prayer beads were started when these pretty much desert dweller men and women would go away from the cities, go out in the desert, and they would pray. So what they would do is they would do a repetition prayer, or they would try to pray 150 times a day. So to know they were keeping track, they would carry 150 stones around. It's hard to carry 150 stones around. Every time they would pray, they would switch them from one pocket to another. So they decided to come up with a different way. Well, at that time, the common folk could not read or write. But they wanted to learn how to pray. So they came up with the rosary, which was a repetitive prayer that everybody could remember. It would start out with the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, and they would do that, and then later on, it eventually became Our Father. When Martin Luther broke away from the church through that period, prayer beads ceased to exist, and then we don't know if Martin Luther didn't like the prayer beads or something happened. Later on in the Anglican tradition, they brought them back with different meaning. So that's why we're doing this, because it made it where you guys focus. Alisa called me to talk to me yesterday, and she told me the impact the prayer beads were having on her. That when she had the CT scan, that she could visualize those prayer beads in her mind as she went through and did that. So let's do a review for those of you who are here. Okay, your first set, let me get mine to show you here. Okay, your cross would be, hello God, Holy Father, dear Jesus, whatever you're praying. Then this one is, I come to you. Then your first bead would be, at the bottom, would be your praise. So you're going to think of 7 things to praise. So you can go left or right. So you put a praise for each of those small beads, not the tiny, of a praise. So 7 praises. Then you go to your next bead, and that would be confession. Lord, I sinned, and I need you to remember this. And that would be 7 more. And then the third set is intercessions, your joys and your concerns for yourself or others. So you would do 7 things there. And then your fourth one is thanksgiving. What do we have to be thankful for? Now somebody said to me, well, praise and thanksgiving are the same. They're not. So be aware of that. So that's your thing. If you need a copy of that, I can get it for you. Oh, I won't be here this week. Jane's making a book of all these as we go through. So that would be that's going to look great on the video today as she walks across. Did you do a live video today? Okay. Rose, go around. The video camera's right there.
Oh, sorry.
So that's that, okay? Did you get it, Leo? I'll wait for you to. Did you get it all?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, what I want to do is we're going to look at your sheets that are inside your bulletin. This tells you a little bit here. The rosary was developed to enable illiterate Christians to participate in a specific spiritual discipline. They use each bead to recite the Lord's Prayer. You may be familiar with this prayer and may even say it on a regular basis, which we do every Sunday. However, did I just write on myself? Yep. However, experience what it's like to repeat this prayer over and over again using the beads. Repeat the prayer once with each bead. So with each large bead, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. We're only going to do it with one bead. So we're going to do it together. And then you guys can take this home and figure out how you want to do it. So Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Okay, for those of you who might want this book, it's called A Bead and a Prayer by Kristen E. Vincent. She has a second book out called More Bead and a Prayer. And then a third one that's More Bead and a Prayer prayers. So, before this, what did you guys think of the Catholic Rosary?
I didn't know that much about it.
Okay. Do you think it's okay for Protestants to use beads in prayer? You guys don't have to answer these now, but these are reflection questions for you to think about. How can prayer be a discipline? What does it mean to pray without ceasing? How could using beads aid your ability to pray without ceasing? What thoughts and reactions do you have to the prayer bead experience? Then on the front of that was a little bit about the prayer beads and what we can do with them. We have 2 more weeks of this. Next week you're going to be making your own prayer. So there'll be pieces of paper out for you to write your own prayer for the prayer beads. So you can learn and customize this. This is just a way for you to get more tactical in prayer, more focused. I notice even though I pray often, it's different when I put this out because I have a format. I kind of freeform my prayers. This right now I'm being able to focus a little bit more. I'm using these 4 times a day. So in the morning, once before lunch, in the afternoon, and the evening, I use the prayer beads. And then other times, I'm praying I have an ongoing conversation with God. It's sometimes not always the best, but it's an ongoing conversation. So I invite you to do that. Do you have any questions about your prayer beads? Okay. Does anybody need another set of prayer beads or to give to somebody? Okay. I'll be making some more next week after next, so if you need to know somebody that would like a set, let me know. I've noticed as I'm making these, I'm praying over them. So it's been a whole different experience there. I made 7 the other day, and as I pray I pray over each bead and pray for whoever gets it. Some of the beads I make for specific people, some of them I just make. So know whatever beads that we did that you took have been prayed over. So there's that. Our song today, I don't want to do that, is just a short chorus called the Cares Chorus. And in that song it says, I cast all my cares upon you. So I invite you to cast your cares upon Jesus. If you're desiring membership, if you're desiring to know Jesus on an intimate basis, if you want to join the church family formally, y'all are part of the church family anyway, or if you desire the baptism by water, please come forward as we sing the Cares Chorus. Rob, can you do that?